What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host Vernon. This is Las Vegas Creek. Let's fish that. Okay, so for today's video, I am 50% excited and 50% anxious. Now I made my way down here to Lava Butte, and I only have 2 fly rods out here with me. That's going to be the plan for today, using some fly rods. Now in some of my previous videos out here, some people have mentioned to me, but why don't you put a fly in front of the fish that you can see in the water? And believe it or not, but that's something that I've never done before and never tried catching carp using fly rod. And because this is something new, that's why I'm excited. But normally when targeting carp, you want to use something like a 5 weight to an 8 weight. That is the size of the rods and reels that you want to be using when targeting carp. Whereas the setup that I'm using, both my rods and reels, they are only 3 weights. That's perfect for when going up into the mountains, a small stream, trying to find some small trout. But it might be a bit tricky with some big carp. And that is why I'm a bit hesitant to do this. However, if I don't try, I won't know if it will work. On my fly reels, I have the normal leader, a tippet, and then the fly line. And I also have some backing on my fly reels. I have roughly about 150 feet worth of 16-pound backing on my reels, meaning that if we get a big fish and it needs to take off, then hopefully I won't get spooled, having all that line that's available for the fish to take. Now, like I said, this is not something that I've done before, but I have been watching quite a lot of videos on YouTube, seeing how people try and target these fish. So as I'm going, I will explain some of the things that I've learned from them, starting of course with the attire I'm wearing. I have some greens and browns. The idea is you want to blend in with the background, no highlighter colors and stuff that's looking more natural, blending in with your surroundings. Reason for that, carp are quite skittish. They tend to flee quite easy. That is why you want to blend in with your surroundings, because carp actually have very poor eyesight on long distances. They can see movement, but they cannot figure out what it is. Once you tend to get a bit closer, the carp actually wants to identify whether you are a predator, whether they need to flee the area, or if you're no threat to them, whether they can continue feeding around. So for that reason, it's quite simple. You want to blend in with your surroundings, and when you move, you want to move as slow as possible. The idea is staying low and slow. Okay, so carp are opportunistic feeders. That just means that they are willing to go for aquatic insects as well as some crawls and some injured bait fish. For that reason, I have a selection of flies out here mimicking some insects as well as some bait fish, and I have some little worm imitations and stuff. This is the selection of flies that I want to be using out there today to try and find these fish. The thing is, with these flies, you have to get it down on the bottom. These fish would be willing to go for these little lures if it's close to their faces and it's an easy meal for them. They don't have to waste too much energy to try and eat our little lures. Now for that reason, we have a quite strong current coming down this little creek we have. So I'm going to have to use some split shots to try and get these little flies down on the bottom. Also targeting some areas where we don't have as much current might be the key to finding these fish. Now of course, the selection of flies I have will not only work for the carp, there might be some bass and stuff also interested in some of these flies. So fingers crossed, hopefully we get something. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's see if we can get lucky. Right in front of me there's a big drop off. There's a pool down there that has some carp in it. With slow moving water, it's not as fast as the rest. So I'm going to try and drop my fly in there. I have my little bug imitation. Going to drop that in there. Let's see if the fish are willing to go for that. Of course, I have to move slow, and hopefully they won't see me and be willing to go for this. Just had something, but it came off. That's what I was afraid of. And using these small hooks, if I tighten up the drag too much, it's easy for these small hooks to tear out. Okay, so far the fishing has gone exactly the way I thought. I've been struggling quite a lot. I had one bite, but I managed to lose that fish along with the fly that was down there. That fish took the fly, my line snapped. This is really the first time that I'm doing this type of fishing for carp, so I thought I might struggle, and that is why I have the second fry rod out here with me. On this one I'm going to use a single hook with a single piece of corn and just let that soak in the water. Maybe the fish will be willing to go for some corn. Still using a fly rod. It's not that much of a cheat, but using actual corn rather than a fly, that's cheating. But I still want to catch something at least, so I'm going to try that as well. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we finally have a fish on. Not the fish that we were hoping to get, but still quite exciting, because this is going to be a new species for me. We have a pleco, little armored catfish. There we go, nice big pleco. First fish landed for today. Let's quickly get a size. Quickly gonna get a size on this guy so we know what my new PB for plecos are. This little guy took a fly, still got him hooked under lip. So luckily I brought my scales out here. Let's get a weight measurement on this pleco. Alright, so it's a 400 gram fish. That's going to be a 0.87 pound, so not even a pound, but it is a nice size pleco. I was thinking something like 30 centimeters. Now if you're worried that I have my scale hooked through his gills, not a problem. We are not releasing this fish. They are not native to this place. They're not supposed to be in these waters, so this one is not going to get released. Just want to get a nice view of the fish. Lovely patterns they have, but let's get this fish off the fly. See the fly right there in the mouth. Lovely to at least get some kind of fish today, even if it's something that we're not going to release. Okay, so I made my way over to my old trusty hole here at Lava Butte. The hole is back there, but I can already see some changes. I'm seeing some carp swimming around. I'm seeing some big tilapia up near the reeds, as well as some small bass. So I'm going to quickly swap out to my trusty old dropper rig with the dry fly above and the little nymph. Let's see if maybe we can get some of these tilapia, and then I'll swap back, try again for some carp. So I wanted to include this clip, as this is the way the experts say you should try and target these fish using this method. Now I could see the fish splashing around up shallow, kicking up some mud whenever they're trying to feed on something. So I'm trying to cast around 6 feet in front of these fish, letting my lure sink down towards them and twitching it around their faces. But they didn't seem to be interested in any of my flies. I had quite a few attempts at trying to catch these fish with the flies in front of their faces up in the shallow water, and eventually I scared them off by having my lead weight splashing on top of the water as well. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I spent an entire day out here casting around some flies. What a time I've had. To be honest, I was expecting it to be quite difficult, and lo and behold, it is very difficult. But we had some good things happen out there. I managed to hook a carp, but even before I could get my GoPro on, it came off the hook. I also think I snagged a channel catfish, and it gave one jump, and also that came loose. So all in all, I only managed to get that one fish today. But like I said, I was expecting it to be difficult. It was a great time to see how the flies look in the water, how the fish react to them. I had a few surprises where one of the purple lures I had, I thought that was a streamer. Turns out that's something more like a crawl imitation, where it splits open to 2 parts. Looks like a crawl in the water. But besides only testing out these flies out there and testing my skills, I managed to get that Placo. That is a new fish for my life list. So even though we failed in catching some carp out there today on the fly rod, we did manage to get a new species. So all in all, a great day for me out there. I thought about doing this video here at Lava Butte because you can see the fish, I can see the carp trying to feed, you can see some tilapia on beds, you can see some bass swimming around. I thought it might just be easier to get the flies in front of them, but I have to do some more research. I think the flies I have aren't specifically for carp, and to be honest, it does take skill and practice to get this right. So the more you do it, the more you get into it, the luckier you might get. Alright, but that's going to be it for this video. I want to thank you for joining me out here. Please do tell me, have you ever gone carp fishing with a fly rod? Please give me some hints and tips down in the comments. Feel free to ask any questions down there as well. If you're new to the channel, consider hitting the subscribe button, joining my community. If you enjoyed the video, please do give me a thumbs up. Alright, but thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.